Thanks, Karen. Hi, Kate.
Hey, Megan. Happy birthday.
Hey, thanks. I thought it would be fun to borrow. My daughter wanted me to borrow her birthday crown.
Very, very elegant.
It's very chic, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. Did you have a good day?
I did have a good day. Thank you for asking. And it's even better now because I've got you and I poured myself some champagne. So,
all right.
Why not?
That's fantastic.
The weather was really nice here in St. Louis. And so I went for a really long walk.
Excellent.
Where are you calling us from, Kate?
I'm on Cape Cod, and it should be gorgeous here, but it's been cold, it's been rainy, and it's now snowy in the Northeast. Not here, but
I was talking to a friend who, actually my pal Melissa at the Wool and the Floss, she was driving up North Michigan and it was snowing.
I know, crazy.
Just bizarre. It feels like we're in the apocalypse or something. It's just nutty, totally nutty. So how long have you been there on the Cape? Have you been for?
I used to summer here all my life when I was growing up, but have been living here for 10 years now. And but we've been in sort of the area south of Boston for 25 years before we moved here. So
good.
Yeah.
Now, is your studio there at your home there?
Yes.
Okay.
So my husband's an artist and we have a gallery, which is his paintings. I used to sell mine, but I was too attached to them, so I couldn't stand to let them go. So I don't sell my paintings anymore, but we both paint in there. I design my needlepoint, and
so you both have a desk in the studio, is that, or in the gallery?
I've got a painting table. And then now I'm in my office, which is where all my threads are, and
very good.
Both very fun places.
Now, are you quarantining with your kiddos too?
No, all three of our kids are grown up and out of the house, but Drake, whom many of my customers know Drake, my son, works with me. He lives 15 minutes away, and even though we're social distancing, we're kind of pretending like we're one household, so we see each other every day. We have to for work, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's tough. For all intents and purposes, you're quarantining together.
Exactly. Just in two different households. And actually, we're borrowing one of his dogs tonight. So.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, it is. It's fun.
Very good. Yeah. So some people may not know that Drake works with you. So he is one of the artists in the line, but he also works with you.
Yep. Yeah. He works with me full time. He does all of our order shipping, keeps track of all the inventory, does all the trunk shows. It's a full-time job, so
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of, well, particularly for a company that has such a large collection like you do.
Gosh.
I mean, it's a large, it's a big inventory management. In fact, one of your fans, I'm sure you've met Ann Fisher, who was also in my.
Oh, I love Ann's designs.
She's great. She says one of the so just so you know, I put a query out for people to ask questions. So I have some questions from the audience also.
All right. I'll do my best to answer.
Of course, yeah. So one thing that Ann said is she said she's awestruck by your line. And was curious if you knew how. Yeah, I thought that was very sweet of her. But she was curious, how many designs do you have in the collection? Do you know?
Oh my gosh! You know what? I don't know, but it's over 1,000. And
oh my word!
Yeah, and we've been trying to discontinue things because there's just not room to store all the designs, and I constantly am wanting to make new designs, so we've been trying to discontinue things. But of course, as soon as I say something's discontinued, everybody wants it. So
well, it's funny because what's old is new again,
Yeah, exactly.
So Kate, I didn't realize this, so I was trying to do a little bit. I mean, I obviously know you, we've met, I know your designs, But I didn't realize, it says on your website that you were founded in 1972.
I know. I was
Is that how long you've been in this? You are not that old, girl. Were you a child? Were you a child artist doing needlepoint?
I was in high school. Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness, that is very impressive to me. I mean, I
Yeah.
knew you're kind of a legend in the needlepoint world. I mean,
Oh,
let's be
well.
honest. But I didn't realize that you'd been around for that long. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
So what were some of the, well, if you recall, do you remember what your first design or what some of your first designs were? And what did you start with?
I started actually needlepointing with one of those cheapo kits from the Ben Franklin, what we used to call the 5 and 10 store.
Yes.
And then moved on from there, and I've just been needlepointing ever since. And I always liked art, so
sure.
I had paints and everything. Just decided to start painting my own canvases. Is that giving you a headache?
It's for a child.
Yeah.
I got to take it off. It was good while it lasted, though.
It was very cute.
Sorry for the interruption. So yeah.
But, so yeah, I had the paints and everything. I started painting my own canvases, and then I worked doing designs for a shop near us. That was in Minneapolis, in Minnesota.
Really?
Where I grew up.
You grew up in Minneapolis.
Yeah, so I'm a Midwestern girl, just like you.
I was just gonna say,
yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So yeah, and then from there I just expanded after college. I just kept going, and then when I had my kids, and for many years I didn't do it except for volunteer. I was doing like our church kneelers and things like that, but wasn't doing it full time when I was bringing up my kids. And then about 10 years ago I got back into it, and so the rest is history.
So it really became a full-time gig 10 years ago.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool. And so who taught you to stitch? Did you say
some friends of ours on Cape Cod? We actually always summered on Cape Cod. And so some friends of ours taught us, and my mom and my sisters and I all got hooked, and have been doing it ever since.
So do you remember what back then, what were some of the, so needlepoint has morphed and changed.
Yes.
And a lot of the they were kits. You were mentioning from the 5 and dime, but then they weren't quite so inexpensive at a point too. There was the tapestries from, England and things. So do you remember what you were stitching back then?
I actually, after the very first few kits I started designing my own.
Your own things. Okay.
I did a lot of modern art then. I was a tour guide at the Walker Art Center as a volunteer, and all modern art. And so did a lot of that. Some of my designs that I have in the line now are literally that old.
Okay.
Doing them. But the thing is, they just don't go out of style.
Well, your designs are so classic. I mean, they really.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Some of the, like the florals, some of my like the geraniums.
Oh yeah.
I've been doing since the 70s and the 80s. A lot of the children's things. I mean, I've added many things to the line since then.
We actually were just measuring the geranium rug.
Oh yeah.
In the shop via photograph and via Zoom. Or we weren't on Zoom or something to kit for wool the other day. So that was
fantastic.
Pretty fun. Yeah.
I've been dying to do that one, and but there's not enough time. And especially now during the coronavirus, so many shops are so busy because everybody's just home needlepointing. It's incredible. But I have a painting service that I work with, and they're shut down right now. So I'm trying to madly hand paint things to order, and it is crazy. I 7 days a week, many hours every day, just dawn till dusk. trying to hand paint myself, you know, just to get stuff out to you guys in the shops. So
yeah, we were talking about that in the shop the other day. I can't remember who I was, but it's, you know, the supply chain is the needlepoint supply chain is so fascinating because really, and I may have even been talking to Anne about this last week. Anne just posted out.
I know, I see Anne's message.
Painting
Hi,
and
Anne.
painting and painting. But, you know, people don't realize that this is not just, you know, the industry is very global. And so we're getting things from all over. The canvas comes from Germany and come from China or Asia, you know, all over the place. And I think we, as an industry, all of our vendors have done a really good job of managing inventory, particularly when it comes to us going to buying, you know, like a cycle. But when something like this happens, it's really hard hitting everybody.
Right.
You know, we are out right now. This is crazy. We usually buy so much white of everything. So
this is what I've heard. The white threads are gone.
We're out of white pearl cotton in both sizes. We're out of white silk and ivory. We're out of pepper pot white. We're out of vineyard white. I mean, it's bonkers. And so and the poor distributors are struggling to get what they need. Supplies. But anyway, so it has been pretty crazy. So now talk to me about, you are oftentimes or sometimes or however you describe it in France. Speaking of being global. So and I'll tell you, my French, I know like bonjour and merci, and that's so I can't even play that game. But
okay.
But tell us more about that. So what have you been visiting France and you decided at a certain point you just wanted to spend some time there, or how is that about how it went?
Always loved France. My grandfather taught me some French when I was really little. I have a little children's ABC for that I have had since I was probably like 3 years old, and it's all in French. And in fact, it's old enough that the V shows a girl writing the V on the wall as a sign for victory next to a Nazi sign.
So wow.
Right after World War II was when it was published. I obviously was not alive, but yeah, my grandfather loved France, and so he gave me that book and taught me French when I was little. And then I started going in high school, and I went to college there in Nice.
Oh, nice.
And then my husband also loves it, and he actually went to grad school in Switzerland. So we've just traveled there so much, but always wanted to live there. So we finally got a house a few years back, and
wow. And what part of it are you in the south of France? So near Nice and
not too near Nice at this point. I'm west of the Mediterranean. So
okay.
But yeah.
So do you spend about half your time there, or are you
about a third of the year? Although this year,
I know
we haven't been able to get there this spring, and I don't even know if we'll be able to get there in the fall. So we're really missing all of our dear friends there. But
so are there a lot of American friends you have there, or is it mostly
no local, American friends there?
Small
Actually,
town?
it's mostly French, some Dutch, some English, Irish. We have a Greek family in our town.
Oh my goodness!
So it's kind of our town's really kind of international, but mostly French. Yeah.
Are you finding inspiration from being in France and painting? And do you do any drawing or painting while you're there?
Yep. I have a studio. We actually have a painting studio that is in what used to be the I don't even know what you call it in English. But it was the room, like the barn room off of the house where they would keep all the animals.
Like a carriage house, sort of? Or
kind of, but it's attached to the house.
Okay.
So it's a separate room. It has a separate entrance too, but that's our studio game room, and so we both have our painting areas in there, and I'm all set up with my paints and my needlepoint canvas there so that I can just I don't have to bring supplies with me when I go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, so speaking of painting and designing, and so it's been very interesting for us. So I think you're my sixth or seventh designer that we've talked to in the last few weeks, and everyone sort of has a different way that they create. So so I don't know if you know this, but Tara from Pip and Rue doesn't even paint; she stitches. She stitches her designs, and then others have sketchbook. Brooke had talked about her extensive from Thorne Alexander has an extensive sketchbook. So talk to us a little bit about your process if you have one, or how it all.
Oh gosh. Well, first of all, I collect millions of pictures.
Okay.
And they're all in files on my
pictures like photographs that you take, or do you mean things that you kind of gather from books and things?
Everywhere. Everywhere. So I've got, say under backgrounds and borders, I'll have a folder for plaids, and another one for
like lattice work.
Exactly, lattice, bamboo, that kind of thing. So I have just tons. And so then when I come up with a new idea, which I have a zillion new ideas every day,
sure,
and no time to paint them, but when I do have a new idea, then I'll just go to my files and look for like I don't know, something for a border and something for the central part of the design. But then what I do is basically just make it up as I'm going while I'm painting it on the canvas.
On canvas.
I never draw it out first.
Okay.
I used to, but now I'm just too impatient. So I'm immediately right on the canvas.
Well, and I imagine once you get a little more comfortable with canvas, painting canvas is not easy, but once you get a little more comfortable in that grid style, you're used to kind of creating things in the grid style, and so it's a little easier for a seasoned designer.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. So then you paint one master, and then it goes to we've had a lot of questions. If you don't mind expounding, since you've been in the business for a while, we've had a lot of questions about paint houses. So people a lot of our watchers or viewers are saying, what's a paint house? Do you mind telling us about where your designs go and how that all works?
So I actually I work with one generally I work with two, but they're both based in the United States. One has the painters in the Philippines, and the other has painters in China.
Okay.
And the fact is that needlepoint is so popular that despite anybody's best interest or best efforts, there's no possible way we could paint as many designs as are needed by customers, by shops. So we paint the masters and then send them to our painting houses, and they make the copies for us. They paint them exactly as our originals, and if not, they get sent back to get corrected. But they're very, very good. And
so yes, that's actually my mom asking that question. Mom, you should
there you go.
Said that you paint one design and then it's duplicated, and the answer is yes. You create what's called a master.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I Zoomed with her earlier for my birthday, so we've talked today.
Oh, nice.
So what somebody else is saying are the overseas. So yes, she just said, so there are painters in
Philippines, China, there are painters in Haiti. There used to be painters in Hungary. I don't think they're still doing it anymore, but
Have you ever visited, or has anyone?
I have not.
I'd be curious to know what it looks like and how it's set up, or if people are painting on their home. I mean, I'm assuming they're all going to a place and all painting and using the master.
Although right now, because of the COVID shutdown, my painting service in the Philippines just got back up and running again. But what they're doing is the Philippines government, they're only allowing a few people to go in, apparently. So the manager and, a few top people are in there making kits. And then the painters are coming to the studio, picking up their kits of things to paint and taking them home and working on them.
Isn't that so somebody's mixing the paint colors and getting everything right and then sending them home?
I guess. Yeah.
Wow, isn't that cool?
I don't know. Yeah.
Again, it's amazing that this industry is so global. Things are everywhere, and it takes it takes a global village for this industry.
It sure
I don't think
does.
people really
Oh
realize
my
that.
gosh, yeah.
That's something else that we talk about a lot in the shop too, is, you know, when a person is new to the craft, oftentimes there's some sticker shock, like, wait, how much does that cost? Well, think about it. It's designed and then it's painted by a person by hand, you know.
Yes,
So I think that
yes.
that's a hard
And it
concept.
has to be just to be the quality, to have the design line up with the mesh. I mean, I don't actually paint stitch by stitch unless the canvas calls for it. I prefer more of a blended look, and and because stitching has changed so much, it used to just be basket weave, so it was just stitch by stitch. But now there's so many stitches and so much blending of fibers and
over-dye threads and things.
Yep. And then stitches that don't even cover the entire canvas, which used to be an incredible no-no. You know, you never had left one single blank stitch.
Well, especially when you were using a Penelope canvas that was kind of that was not so wonderful to see. But the designs are art, you know. And
yeah.
So really what you're saying is, I think, true, that the thread is really just sort of adding to the design, and it doesn't have to be completely covered up.
Right. No, exactly. So for that reason, I like to paint more blended. And then there are a lot of things like plaids and houndstooth and specific borders. There are a lot of things that need to be stitch painted. And then people like Ann Fisher, you know, heard a lot of people design things that are only stitch painted because that's their look.
That's right.
So yeah.
Well, and so I think what you're saying too is that some of the designs in your line are exactly stitch painted. The one, like, so I've stitched. In fact, I was going to have it here to show, but I stitched a monogram round. Recently. It's at the finisher, so I don't have it.
Okay, those are all stitch painted.
Yeah, and it had. I'm trying to remember the exact design, like I never know how to. Is it ECAT or ICAT? Like the
ECAT.
Yeah. So I think that's the one that I did. So that was very specifically like linear. So but then things like some of your collaborations where the artwork is very.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. So and in fact, I wanted to talk to you about that, and so. Going to your website, I mean, I knew you had some collaborations. I guess I never really had looked specifically to say, wow, look at this list of collaborations. I mean, you've got quite a group of artists. So, and excuse me for not remembering, but the artist who does like the women with the really cool
Maren Devine.
Thank you.
Maren Devine. Yep.
So hers are that wouldn't necessarily be a stitch painted design because there's a lot moving and a lot going on.
Yeah. And those are canvases. Although I have seen a lot of people have finished them with just plain old basket weave, which is great. They look beautiful. Yes. So you can stitch them that way if you want, but they also really like cry out for fun stitches, longer stitches, fun fibers, if that's what you're interested in doing.
Sure. So how are you collecting those artists? Are they people that you run into or you know, or so how do you develop those collaborations?
Some most I don't know. I just find them online and think, wow, this would be a great fit with my line. I don't, I'm never going to pick up an artist that doesn't have the same kind of feel, like love of bright colors and pattern. But then I'll approach an artist and ask them if they'd like to have me, do their designs in needlepoint. And the only person that actually contacted me was Kelly Reitzel.
Okay.
And I was just floored because I used to have a retail shop that had home interiors things, and I carried Kelly's line, and I always loved her things. And so then when she contacted me, I was like, wait, this is the Kelly Reitzel? But
isn't that awesome? Now, are hers the ones with the frogs and the bees? Okay. Yeah. And you've got some brand new ones out that we're going to be kind of debuted at market.
Right.
Those are great. In fact, somebody says one of the questions we got was, will you have more of her artwork in your line? Are you working?
Yes. The problem is right now I'm just painting for orders for shops because the painting services are all closed. And so I'm trying to fill in to keep people, everybody's home stitching. So, you know, so I haven't had time to do a lot of new designs.
I know.
But, and then I'm madly trying to stitch my advent calendar so I can write a stitch guide. I've got people waiting for that.
So darling. In fact,
thank you.
We've been talking about that it's come up a couple times in the shop in the last few weeks. That is so cute.
Thank you.
For people who don't know, you need to get out and look at Kate's advent calendar. It's a Christmas tree.
Yep. Actually, I got it right here.
Do you have one? Oh, good.
It's huge. It's huge. So,
oh my gosh. I didn't know how big it was. I mean,
yeah.
Kate, are you doing like a darning pattern? Is it like
I'm doing a snowflake in the background that I made up, and
oh, how beautiful.
And then and I'm doing long stitches on the tree, and then all the ornaments are different stitches. I'm trying to do this backwards, but
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, and it's on a huge frame, which I can't even get the whole thing on the frame, so it's wrapped over in the bottom.
Yeah.
So
do you happen to have, because I think what so you didn't get to see it, but we have, I mean, 5 or 6, maybe even 8 people are saying, I need that. That's so wonderful.
Yeah,
it's fabulous. Do you have any of the little pieces there sitting in your
studio?
They're because they're just as darling as the tree. You've got the mistletoe and the
well, here's some that I've stitched so far, just because I'm working on the stitch.
Oh, that is so cute.
Yep, there we go. That's one. I just finished the little elephant. Can you? I'm trying to see if it's on the camera.
You're doing a great job. No, it's right there.
So,
perfect. You're doing a great job.
The doll with the
look at that. Look at that bow.
Her furry coat. Yep, love her. Santa. And I'm having a lot of fun with different fibers and stitches. So let's see what else. Well, I've stitched a lot of them. A lot of people have seen this one on Facebook. They love this.
The hobby horse.
And I'm calling him Louis because his mane reminds me of Louis the 14th's wig. So yeah, I try to put it up close. I don't know
Louis the hobby horse.
But it's uncut turkey work out of silk straw.
Oh, that is well, I've never done that before. How's that going for you? Holy smokes.
Oh, no, it actually went
pretty
really
easy.
Well, yeah, it was fantastic. Good. So now, here's the magic wand. So,
and then isn't there a little mistletoe that kind of emulates?
There is. I haven't stitched that one yet.
That piece, I love. In fact, I just placed an order with you, and I ordered I love that pink mistletoe. Isn't that mistletoe? The pink. I love that.
There's. Wait. Yes.
From someone's. Yeah.
Voila.
Yes.
Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So anyway. I guess. So everyone's commenting, I need this, I need this, I need this. First of all, I guess I better figure out if you have one in stock to send me, because that's not an easy one to paint.
Yeah, I do. I have a couple, although I ordered a lot for the Orlando show, which ended up getting canceled, and I've sold many of them since then.
Yeah, we're going to have to add a couple of those to the shop.
Online, so.
One way that I was just thinking that, so for people who are saying, I need that, they, they could order each of the pieces and begin to work on those kind of slowly, because you don't have to, or are you selling it all?
No, it's actually coming as a kit.
Oh, okay.
Not a kit, but a 26-piece set.
Okay.
So, but I have had people want some of the different ornaments just on their own. So I'm going to do them. They're probably going to be maybe a hair bigger and just slightly different, but yeah, I'll do a lot of them as ornaments.
How do you picture that being finished, Kate? Do you think that they'll have magnets on the back? Or?
Yes. Yep. Magnets. Okay. So.
And the piece, the entire board will be magnetic, and then is that what you're thinking? Or?
Oh, that's a good idea.
I don't know.
That's a really good idea. No, I was actually.
I'm a very practical
out
person.
A map of the back side of the tree.
Okay.
For finishers, so that they knew where to place the magnets, and then of course they'd be on the back of all the little ornaments as well. Smart. But yeah, and then actually I'm really proud of this idea. I just came up with doing for Hanukkah menorahs that have the flames that you can stitch separately.
Adorable.
and put those on, and those are also done with magnets. So
I love those. And in fact, I was going to mention that next, because don't you have 2 or 3 that,
yep,
or is it just 2?
3. There's 3 different designs.
They're beautiful. And in fact, we
you.
have someone who has ordered one, I think.
Oh, good.
Anyway, or is at least thinking about it. But yeah, they're beautiful. And that's a lot of fun too. And we have a large Judaic stitching group. So it's nice that they're
fantastic.
Sort of a diverse line. So it's really, we have those offerings as well. So our favorite finisher would do a great job with the magnets, Kate. So Kathy, is it Stitching Studio, Kathy? I'm sorry.
Hi, Kathy.
I mix up all my shops. So wow, that's incredible. And in fact, someone asked, does Kate have any time to stitch? And you kind of answered that question lately. No.
Yeah, right. I do stitch every morning while I'm having my coffee and watching the news, which is it helps make the news a little less depressing.
Isn't that the truth?
And I know, really. And then I stitch at night while I'm having a glass of wine. But then when I'm in France, we're usually there for like 2.5 months, spring and fall each. And we drive a lot. We're always, just touring around, looking at the scenery. And I am always stitching in the car.
Good
so
for you.
Yeah.
And do you typically stitch your own designs, or are there other designers?
I do stitch other people's designs as well, but I'm always working on samples for myself. I also have the wonderful Elaine Adonitis, who stitches a lot of my samples, and she writes stitch guides for things. So, yep, she does a lot. But yeah, I'm usually trying to stitch my own things. Then every once in a while, I'll sneak in something from somebody else. I just did a couple of Associated Talents ornaments for myself for the tree. So
nice.
Yeah.
One of the things I think you did, I hate to sit on the Christmas thing, but didn't you recently do the little Christmas sampler? Did you stitch that? And there's a stitch guide for that too?
Yes, I have 2 of them. Yeah, they're kind of like collages.
So cute. That same Santa face, that really beautiful Santa face.
Yep.
And so there's a stitch guide
back from my finisher, West Coast Finishing. She did a fabulous job. So yeah,
she does do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
But that's great. Darling. How did you finish that? Did you do an easel back, or was it?
No, I told her, it could be a stand up, it could be wall hanging. She ended up doing wall hanging. So yeah. So
very good. I'll have to.
Yeah, they're great.
I think I saw some progress pictures. You were working on that either on Instagram or Facebook or something.
Yeah, so I've got those 2, and there's stitch guides for those.
So someone, speaking of designs and Christmas, someone asked, there must be a button on your site that says nativity. Are you working on a nativity?
Oh.
Something's coming. Evidently somebody wants you to have a nativity.
I have designs for like ideas for 3 different kinds of nativities. The first one I've always wanted to do, because I collect, as a matter of fact, I have some on my desk. I didn't plan this, but I collect these little, they're from Provence, France, called Santon. Wait, can I do this?
Hi guys. Yeah, they're so cute.
And so it's all the characters in the town, in a Provençal town, are in this. And I have hundreds of them, which everybody who lives in Provence does. And you set up a whole scene with the town and everything. So I've been wanting to do a nativity of some of those characters in needlepoint. And then I also thought I would do a fishnet series.
Oh, wouldn't that be cute?
Like the hare and, so there'd be not a huge amount, but of course the Holy Family and the wise men, the donkey and camel. And so I think that'll be kind of fun too. So
yes. That series is very fun to do.
Oh,
they're all so darling. That was a great inspiration on that. Someone else asked about like the lily inspired designs.
Yeah.
And how you were kind of drawn to that, or what?
Yeah, well, I used to wear lily back in the 70s and never
Cape.
stopped. So And I did actually, when I got back into doing needlepoint about 10 years ago, I called Lily and I wrote them a letter and I tried to, get their license to do their own designs, and they just never got back to me. I think they're too busy.
Well, sure.
So I just decided, you know what? I'm just gonna do things that are inspired by Lily, that are similar, the kinds of colors and all of that. So they're all my original designs, but inspired by,
yeah. That's good to hear. That's neat that you're a Lily girl.
Yeah.
In fact, I thought, oh, maybe I'll wear some Lily. I don't even own any. Isn't that terrible? I'm like such a preppy girl, and I don't have any Lily. So I was going to do that for you. I try to dress in theme for my designer, and
I think the pink, that's
printed
cute.
Pink is all I could
Absolutely. Actually, your top looks a little Provençal.
Well, I was about to say it's also that Liberty of London.
There you go.
Yeah, very European.
Yes, exactly.
Way. I did that just for you. I'm trying to see here if well, Joanna from the Plum Stitchery wants me to tell you that she just thinks you're fab.
Oh, I think she is watching. Too. Love Joanna.
That she tells a beautiful story about how welcoming you were to her at a TNNA show. Yeah. And I think that that's a really sweet. So
she helped me out at a show that I had to leave early, and it was in Cleveland near where she lives. And so we met, and I asked her to join me in my booth, and which wasn't strictly legal, but they let us do it. And it was her first trade show. We had so much fun together.
Well, and I think that just really speaks to this community too, and I've talked to that.
It's so true.
It's they're, in theory you're competitors, but in practice.
Oh my gosh, no, everybody's just best friends.
It's a lot of fun. She's giving you some hearts down there at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, hi.
So, but and I think that people like you who have been in the industry for a while, and Raymond Crawford, I talked to him a couple weeks ago. I think the young designers, and including those of us who are young in the industry, are kind of intimidated by you all who have been doing this, and your name, your big names. It's like you're meeting celebrities, and so it's it's so sweet to be there and to meet people, and for everyone to just be so welcoming and appreciative that we're all there. And anyway, that was a really nice
it's one
story.
Big happy family, which is why we're all so sad that we had to miss the Orlando show. So fingers crossed for the fall.
I know. I just hope that it's safe and that the show can go on. So
me too.
Yep. I'm just running through my list here to make sure I don't let anybody down. There were so many great questions, a lot just related to, where do you find inspiration? I think you've done a great job of kind of summing that.
Everywhere. The garden in the summer. I have way more ideas than I'll ever be able to paint.
I'm sure it's kind of like those of us who, stitch. You've got way more canvases than you'll ever be able. You have so many things that you want to stitch. And
I know. I was just thinking today, what's going to happen to all my threads when I'm not here anymore? I'm not stitching anymore. It'll be a long time from now, I hope. But
I hope so too.
Like I have just a zillion threads. So
yeah, and how do you? The question always is, how do you organize? Do you have a way that you like to organize your threads?
I do. I organize them by color. And in boxes, plastic boxes, so I can see through there, and I line them up in rainbow order, so it's easy to just put my hand on whatever I want. But I also have a lot of I have the whole line of Splendor, Neon Ray. I have a whole lot of lines that I also keep together. And I do those in rainbow order as well. So it's just, when I want to find a color, it's, let's see this is a Threadworks in the background. Can't really see it too well, trying to show the light on it. But anyway.
So it's one of the Overdye Krynics?
Yep.
Okay.
It is. Exactly.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Somebody actually said, and I don't know if you'll be able to answer this, but they want to know, what is your signature color for your pink thread? So what are some of the pink threads that you like a lot? I thought that was kind of an interesting
every
question.
Pink thread under the sun and every lime green and every turquoise. I don't have just a single signature one.
I think what I would say, Pepper Pot has a couple of really great bubblegum pinks.
Yep. I love Pepper Pot. In fact,
there's some great impressions.
Yep. Yep. Oh gosh. I mean, all the Rainbow Gallery threads. Kreinik has some gorgeous new ones that they've just come out with. So yeah, I mean, it just depends on what.
Rachel Donnelly's also a pink girl, you know, and so she's yeah. So she said Planet Earth Lily is her thing.
Yeah,
I think that's a good one.
That is a very good one. It depends on whether you want sparkle, if you want variegated, you know, over dyed, if you want a shiny that's not sparkly, if you want flat, you know, there are just so many options because there's so many fabulous fibers now.
Well, and I'm sure that you, being a needle pointer for such a kind of a long period of time, you're just dying over all these great metallics.
Oh my gosh.
Because you were kind of, I'm assuming that you stitched in wool for quite a while.
Pattern Ann, that was it. I mean, I remember when pearl cotton came in, it was like the big new thing.
Yes.
And now.
And now we
like,
it's like, oh, well, that's no fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So. What is shiny but not sparkly, Allison says?
Oh, so like Neon Rays is, you know, has a great sheen, but it's not, doesn't have a sparkle in it. Something like that.
Kreinik also has a matte pink that's like less.
Kreinik does?
Kreinik, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a less glitter. It's more of just kind of has a sheen to it.
Yeah,
I hope Doug's not watching because I'd be embarrassing myself because I think it's called matte, but I'm sure there's a better name for it.
Yeah, I do. I love Kreinik threads. In fact, I bought all of their Japan threads.
Those are
cool.
I'm
dying to use them. I just haven't had time. But
well, you've got some really great little Christmas things right there that would be awesome with a lot of
so yeah, I know.
Japan
gold, but they have to be laid on the canvas. So
you're talking about the actual gold. So for like gold work or something.
They're Japan. So yeah, exactly. You lay them down, and actually I didn't mention this before, but on the top of the see these ribbons.
I got to get my glasses out.
I'm holding this sideways. It's the Advent thing. So it's the for hanging down. But this is a Kreinik braid that is just so fun. So I just thought, oh my God, I have to use that. So I stitched that on top. It's more applied than actually, you know, you don't stitch with it.
So kind of tacking it down.
Yep, exactly.
So we had a couple comments. Somebody, love your backgammon boards. You've got a couple of requests for a piano bench.
I have done those in the past. I mean, that's usually more like a special order. And I don't really have time to do a whole lot of special orders these days. But
the rugs, or even depending on the size, could be sort of maneuvered to fit on a piano bench.
Exactly. A pillow, you know, some of my longer rectangle pillows. People have been making clutches by taking one of the rectangle pillows and folding it over, and you know, things like that. You can do a lot of different things with different shaped canvases. That's exactly right. And hopefully their local needlepoint shop could help them with even an inset or, you know, fabric inset. There's a lot of different things that can be done. So. Yeah. Well, is there anything that we haven't asked Kate Dickerson about that we need to know? Anybody have any other questions, or is there anything you want to share with us, Kate? Oh my gosh. I don't know. What are your other hobbies? Do you do anything besides, do you have time to do anything besides needlepoint and paint? At this point, no. No. But I love cooking. I love decorating. So when we're in France, I'm decorating my house there a lot. And have a little blog about that. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, anything creative. So gardening, love doing that. So I see but I think it's clear we all need that nativity. Okay. Better get working on that, Kate. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. So I'm going to say that we heard it here first, that the nativity is coming. Okay. I have promised it to a couple people who have contacted me through my website as well. So yeah, well, let's have to find the time.
I was gonna say, let's get through all this craziness with the paint houses, and hopefully you'll be able to focus your talents, because you really are a true
Hi, Francophile Dallas.
She's gonna speak some French to you. There you go.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kate.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. And
it's been really fun. And hopefully I'll see you in the fall at the show in Dallas.
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah. I have a couple. So I always end with a lightning round. So you ready? Okay. I've got a couple questions.
Okay.
So what do you prefer, French or California wine?
French.
Oh, right. I was expecting that.
Although I have cousins who make wine in California. And I love their wine too. But
hopefully they're not watching. So beach or mountains?
Oh boy. Oh, I like them both. I'll tell you what, where we live in France, you can be at the beach, and then a few hours later you can be in the mountains.
Oh,
not even like an hour and a half. Yeah.
Perfect. So, perfect.
Yeah.
And what about what are you reading? Or do you have any time to read? You said.
I read every night. I can't go to sleep without reading, but the problem is that I usually read about 2 pages before I'm out. Right. So it takes a long time. I read a lot of books that are set in France, sort of mysteries, but romantic. I don't like reading anything really heavy, and nothing. I at this point in my life, I don't have time for sad endings anymore. I just want, happy, upbeat. But I love mysteries. So
mysteries. All right. What about, did I ask favorite movie?
Oh my gosh. I have quite a few, but The Philadelphia Story.
Oh,
has to be my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holiday Inn right behind it. And then, and I have a lot of French movies I love too. So.
Oh, very good. All right. Well, go hang out with that grand puppy or the dog or whatever you
probably
call
upstairs
him.
Sound asleep with my husband. So.
Oh, so sweet. Well, Kate,
thanks,
cheers.
Megan.
Thank you so much.
You too. Happy
joining
birthday.
me on my birthday. I appreciate that. And take care. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh,
also,
thank you. You too.
Tomorrow.
You too. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.